Welcome to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter. It's at Nick Geber. Not too difficult. Come on, even you can figure that one out. All right, I didn't mean to be demeaning. Pardon me. It's at Nick Geber. Look, today it's Thursday, December the 12th. Why is today important? Well, I'd like to wish everybody out there a very happy Turkmenistan Neutrality Day. I know it's being celebrated the world over, but that is the holiday today. And in celebration of Turkmenistan Neutrality Day, we are indeed going to have a lot of free picks for you just to celebrate this wonderful day. Coming up, Craig El Guapo Trapp will join me. We're going to talk a little college basketball as well as Thursday night football. And I would read the games for you. Okay, I'll do it anyway. We're going to do Austin Peay at West Virginia. By the way, we'll talk about that one in a minute. Iowa at Iowa State. Thursday night football, of course, the Jets and the Ravens. Chip Chirimbes will be right next to me for the next segment, and we're going to cover some NBA. We're going to talk about Dallas, Detroit, the Cavs at the Spurs, the Sixers at Celtics, and Blazers at Nuggets. And we're going to top it all off with Duffy, Sean, the Duff Man Duffy, for some NFL football. Jags at Raiders, Texans at Titans. And see if I can figure the other ones out. Colts at Saints. All right, we'll do that one. And one more. Okay, Seahawks at Panthers. There you go. Those are the NFL games we're going to cover for you today. Look, as always, we've got a lot of picks on our website, picksandparlays.net. And you can go and you can get the free picks and you can be happy and you can go make your bets and everything's great. But when you're ready to kick it up a notch and get the next level of sports betting information, you're going to want to go and sign up for our expert picks. And you can do that very simply. Go to the site. You'll see any one of our 35 handicappers right there for you. And right now, special holiday offer just for you, because we are feeling in a giving mood, because it is the season of giving and generosity. We have decided to give you 15% off everything you might pick up at picksandparlays.net. So load that shopping cart full of sports picks goodies, and you can have 15% off. Use promo code GIFT. That's GIFT. GIFT, 15% off. All right, we'd love to hear from you during the show. You can do that by finding us on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, hashtag us, Parlay Radio. Put your comment in the comment section. We'll see it here in the studio, and we will discuss it on the air and try to keep it not too rude. Okay, all right, we're going to take a break. Be right back with Craig El Guapo Trapp. We're going to talk some college basketball and Thursday night football. Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. By the way, I'd like to clarify something. The last segment today will be with Joe, the Duff Man Duffy, not Sean Duffy, but it could be Sean Puffy Duffy. You never know. But anyway, it will be Joe Duffy, last segment, NFL. This segment, though, as promised, I'm going to bring in Craig El Guapo Trapp, and we're going to talk a little college basketball and some Thursday night football. Sean. Craig.
Everybody's got a different name today.
I don't know. We're doing well today. Well, welcome to the show, Craig. We've got 3 games to talk about today, 2 in college basketball and, of course, Thursday night football. Why don't we start at the state of my ex-wife, Iowa at Iowa State?
That's a good thing or
no?
Bad thing? Okay.
It's neither one, actually.
It's indifferent. We'll
yes,
say this
it's indifferent. But either way, Iowa State, the Hawkeyes, 7-3, 6-4 against the spread, coming off a loss 75-52 to Minnesota. They're 1-1 on the road. They're 3-7 in this matchup in the last 10 and they're under in 5 of the last 7. And for the Cyclones, they're 6-3, 5-4 against the spread on a 2-game winning streak, most recently recording a 76-66 victory over Seton Hall. They're perfect, Craig, 5-0 at home. The total's gone over in 10 of the last 11 games versus Iowa. The Cyclones are the 4-point favorites here. They are at home, total 158. Tell me how you see it, El Guapo.
Well, Iowa actually won their last game against Wisconsin, had lost on the road at Michigan to open the Big Ten season. Really high-scoring affair on that one. This Iowa team, though, is a different team at home than they are on the road. They're 6-4 against the spread. Overall, Iowa State's 5-4 against the spread overall. So both of these teams are not great against the spread.
Did you say Ohio?
Ohio or Iowa?
Ohio State. It's an interesting. I like Ohio.
Hey, it was an early morning to get to Vegas today, and maybe my mouth is a little. But the underdog in this series has been money. 5-0-1 against the spread in this series. The battle of the corn here, Iowa at Iowa State. So I think you have to lean towards Iowa here, getting 4 points. And what I think is, as far as the matchups are, as far as player to player, as far as talent, I think it's a pretty even matchup. And then usually, you're getting about usually 3.5 for a home team. So you're basically saying if this was on neutral site, this would be a coin flip game. So give me the coin flip type game. Give me the points. And you got that underdog streak, like I said, 5-0-1 against the spread, the last 6 head-to-head matchups. Also think the over is a strong play. I know this is a high over here at 157.5 or 158, depending on where you get it at. But I think this one's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Like I said, Iowa, when they played Michigan 2 games back, scored a bunch and gave up a bunch. So I think that's a similar type game here.
All right, next up, this is one of my favorites. Allow me to say this. It's Austin Peay at West Virginia. Now, quite honestly, I'll just put it out there. I had to look up Austin Peay because I actually thought Austin Peay was a 1960s English sports car. Darling, do take the Austin Peay to be repaired. And the funny thing is, do take the Austin Peay to the garden party, would you, darling? They'll call the governors. And of course, if you have an Austin Peay, I believe the governor goes bad in those cars quite a lot. But nevertheless, Austin Peay are at West Virginia, where they're going to be dancing with rattlesnakes because Austin Peay, 4-4, 5-2 against the spread, coming off a 90-83 win at home against mighty Northern Florida. North Florida, huge. They're 0-4 winless on the road. But here's a question for you, Craig. This, I think, is the first time these two teams have ever met.
Well, I mean, that's probably the case, but it doesn't really matter because Austin Peay probably doesn't play to the big boys as often unless it's early in the year like it is in this one.
Do you know what they say about Austin Peay? It's one right after Austin O and one right before Austin Q. And where's Austin Powers when you need him?
Leave in the comments
Groovy, baby.
If you even know what state Austin Peay.
I do. They're in Tennessee.
I know you looked it up, but I thought it was maybe Texas. If you just said what state, you get $100,000. I would have been wrong. But when you look at this game, West Virginia, big favorite here, obviously deserving favorite. They're very good at home. But this year they haven't been good covering winning in large margins. They've only won one game by more than 15 points so far this year. So if you just take that into account, you're getting 15.5. You have to take Austin Peay, I think, in this one, getting all the points. Of course, if you don't know, huge UC fan, Bearcats, and Bob Huggins, of course, spent a lot of time in Cincinnati. I actually worked for him in the summers while I was in college. So I love Bob Huggins. I love West Virginia ever since he's went there. But he's not been the greatest covering these really big numbers historically. So I'm going to take Austin Peay getting all the points, even though I do think West Virginia wins pretty easily.
Yeah, and I understand from what I've said, I'm on some hit list from the Austin Peay Alumni Association. Well, I'm scared all 2 of you are going to come after me. Okay, all right, next up. Let's see what we have. Thursday Night Football. The Jets and the Ravens. Well, the Jets 5-8 against the spread, coming off a last-minute game-winning field goal to beat the Dolphins 2021. They started 1-7. They're now 4-1 over the last 5. Could this be the Jets, though, have only played 3 teams with a winning record this season? I believe the answer to that is yes, it could be. It's a short week, though, with injuries. It's not good for the Jets fans looking at that. The Ravens, what can you say about this team? They're 11-2, 7-5-1 against the spread. The first time the Ravens have been home favorites of 14 or more points since 2014 on a 9-game winning streak, the last coming off the Bills, 24-17. Big favorites, 14.5 points, total 45. Austin Peay, this one.
Well, the Ravens obviously deserve this. I mean, they deserve to be this big a favorite. But, man, everybody in the world is going to be on the Ravens the way they've played lately, on the long winning streak against a Jets team that has not been good. Remember, this is the same Jets team that lost to an 0-11 Bengals team, an 0-8 Dolphins team. I just think everybody's going to be on one side. When that's the case, usually the books come in pretty handily, and I think the Jets covered this big number. I think this is a dominating win by the Ravens, but remember, short week, Lamar Jackson's banged up. Are you going to be running him late in the game if you're up 2 touchdowns?
No. You know, if he's anywhere to be found, you might give him the day off.
They might have the backup. RG3 might get the call here late in this game, and they're only 2-4 against the spread at home this year. And you know, one of those wins was against the Patriots. So I mean, they've had some really nice wins, but a lot of times when these big spreads have been coming out, they have not been covering. And like you said, this is one of the largest spreads they've ever had in the last 10 years. So I just think you take the Jets here. I also think the under's a strong play. Same reason. I think the Jets do enough on defense, and the Ravens don't really want to expose anybody to injuries. They just like to get this season over with, get to the playoffs with the #1 seed, and try to get Lamar Jackson back healthy. So I'd take the under. Also think the Jets is a little bit stronger play at the 16. I even think this line might go to 16.5. That's how much steam I have heard in town here in Vegas, how much is on this Ravens team right now.
Oh, everyone's loving the Ravens, but they are cruising at this point, and the Jets aren't really going to, despite the record. I mean, we discussed that. It's a little bit deceiving with the Jets. I mean, you're right. The Ravens aren't looking at this. They're at home. They're looking at this saying, we don't, just as long as we don't slip up here. So
the key is when you have these short week games, it's a positive, because if you get through this game and they win, which they should, then you get that extra 3 days rest over your next opponent. And they need that with Lamar Jackson being not 100% here. So I think they get through this 2 or 3 quarters. I wouldn't doubt that even if he stays in the game. Though? I don't think so. I just think the Jets. I think the Jets are I see this as like a 20-7 type game.
I think so too.
Where it'll be completely one-sided at the Ravens, but they just don't cover.
I mean, what are the Jets playing for here? They're not playing for much of anything. They're 5-8. They're not in contention.
Really, the Ravens aren't either. They've already locked up their division.
Exactly.
They could even lose probably 2 of their last games, and they're going to end up with either the 1 or the 2 seed most likely. So
now, if there were promotion and relegation in the NFL, maybe the Jets would be playing for something.
Well, every player in the NFL is playing for something. It's a job next year, because every team, even your own team, is scouting, and every team in the NFL is looking for players for the next year, because some of these guys are going to be free agents. So I think the Jets play a little better than what this line suggests, and so we're going to take the Jets and all the points here.
All right, that's a good pick there, Craig Trapp. Always a pleasure. By the way, you can find Craig's picks and lots of them on the website picksandparlays.net. And right now, if you want Craig's picks, or Chip Chirimbes' picks, or Joe, Sean, Puffy, Shuffy's picks, you can get them. Load up the cart, 15% off, promo code GIFT. Lane, Eternal Master, says Jets to play to the level of their competition as on display last night. Well, it's very possible, Lane, but I do agree with Craig. I think it's going to be lower scoring than one might think.
Lower than 45.
Yeah, lower than 45 for sure. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more coming up. It's chicken dinner time. Chip Chirimbes right after the break. NBA. Welcome back to Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. That's right, folks, NBA. We're going to be giving you some free NBA picks right now. Now, I thought about it, who to have on the show, which handicapper to invite in, and one of my good friends, Chip Chirimbes, has agreed to come on and talk a little NBA action for us. So welcome to the show, Chip. Great to have you here, as always. Are you ready to talk NBA today?
Absolutely. You know what NBA stands for, Nick? Nothing but action. We're
Oh,
ready to
really?
go tonight.
Okay.
We got 4 big games Thursday night, and we're going to review them all right
And
here.
do you know what MLS stands for?
Oh, my
Major
goodness.
League Slavery.
Okay, I knew it was something.
That's right. All right,
color.
are you ready? So
Yes.
we've got 4 games. We've curated them. We spent a long time, Chip, going through this, rubbing our beards. Well, you don't have one, but I did. To get
I'm not
the
old enough
best.
to shave yet.
It's true. To get the absolute best games we can for you. Why don't we start with the Mavericks at the Pistons?
Well, there's this Dallas team has turned around. Go ahead. Go ahead. Give me some info.
You like to cut me off on my preamble, Chirimbes.
Go ahead. Do it.
I mean,
do it. I don't like to do it. I have to do it. I feel a need to do it.
You know, I mean,
It's necessary.
I really do.
Go ahead. Give me an intro to it.
Hold on a second. So, okay. Dallas 16-7, 14-9 against the spread. You see, you wouldn't have known that if I didn't tell you this. Okay, all right, maybe not. Won a 6-1, 10 loss to the Kings, snapped a healthy 5-game winning streak they were on there. 8-2 away, 8-2 against the spread away. DeLon Wright is a question mark for this game. They're the 3rd highest scoring team in the league, though, against the Pistons on a 2-game win streak. Also coming off a loss, though. A win, 105-103. By the way, Randy Roberts says he likes it. The Ravens just need a win, nothing to gain. A 3-score beatdown. Completely agree with you, Randy. They're going to show professionalism. They're going to show game professionalism. They're going to manage that game properly. Not take any stupid injuries. They don't need to run up the score. All right, let's get back to the Pistons, though.
NBA.
7-5 at home, 7-5 against the spread also. Total has gone over in 4 of the last 6 games for the Pistons. Dallas, 5-point road favorites on this one. Not a big surprise, actually. 220.5 points is the total.
Right.
Chicken dinner. Let's
Well,
give us a winner chicken dinner.
Big turnaround for the Mavericks this year compared to what they had last year. And, you know, Porzingis coming to them and Doncic, this team, 16-7, like I said, they've been favored in their last 9 games, and they've covered 8 times, Nick. And Detroit has been the model of inconsistency between having Blake back, and this is the first meeting between these two this year. And though Dallas has been, like you said, third highest scoring team in the NBA, and I don't see Detroit playing a lot of defense. They're 10-14. Kind of floundering. You know, last year they were a little bit better. They made it to the playoffs, though they got swept in the first round. But they're 1-5 at home, Nick, against teams with winning percentages. So if you come in there and you're a decent club, they're only 1-5, and they're 0-4 against these teams in the last 4 that they played. But I think, Nick, with Drummond and the way that the Dallas Mavericks move the ball continuously up the court, and the Pistons are going to have to run to keep up with them. I think going over 220 is the way to go, 220.5.
I'm going to say the over, right? And, of course, as we mentioned with the Pistons, the total has gone over in 4 of the last 6 for them. So.
It's just that they, you know, today's NBA, Nick, there aren't too many teams playing defense. The better teams will play against other better teams.
Yeah, sure.
But even they take the night off against weaker teams playing defense.
Speaking of taking the night off,
Yeah?
we don't get to. All right, next up, Cavs at Spurs. Now, I know we're waiting on some lines on this one. If I'm not mistaken.
I'll tell you something.
Oh,
If they
you
had
have,
lines,
you have something?
No, but if they had lines on this game, I don't know if it would even matter. I mean, Cleveland played tough Wednesday night against Houston. They kept it really close. 5-18 now, 5-19 on the year, 2-10 on the road.
But
they
Kevin
just
Love is out for this game, by the way, and also they rank right at the bottom of the league, in the bottom third for scoring, field goal percentages, 3-point percentages, rebounds. In other words, the Cavaliers, El Guapo Trapp, suck.
They do. They're terrible.
The Spurs, on the other hand, they suck less. I think you can't say they're good because they're not.
They're not.
9-14, 6-17 against the spread. They did win the last 2 in a row. That came off a 105-104 win against the Kings was the last game for them. They're 7-6 at home. They're 6-17 against the spread. LaMarcus Aldridge not playing, and neither am I.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if we're going to play this game. It's certainly Cleveland has difficulty giving you a good showing. I mean, last night they came up big against Houston. San Antonio's won the last 6 in the series between these two, Nick, and they've covered 5 of those 6. And this is a different San Antonio team than we've seen in the past. You know, they've dominated the NBA and they've dominated at home, particularly against the point spread. Last year, they came back to the pack, and even more so now, they're under 500, 5 games under 500. Doesn't look like the Spurs are going to make the playoffs, but they may want to take advantage of a team like Cleveland that put a great effort out on Wednesday, get a win over a team that they can beat up.
I don't know. It's kind of early to say they're not going to make the playoffs.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs if you watch them play.
Well, I agree. They suck. But, I mean, lots could happen. And, you know, there's still about 780
they
more
don't
games
have
that
the
each team has to
firepower,
play
Nick.
this
They're
season.
not going anywhere.
I agree. They're not great. But, you know, there could be other teams that are worse, by the way.
There are many teams worse.
Exactly. I wonder if we're going to cover any of them. We will. But not maybe not this segment. All right, next up. Sixers at Celtics. Neither of these teams would fall into that category. No. Trust me. The Sixers 18-7, 11-3-1 against the spread on a 3-game win streak right now. Most recently, a 97-92 win over the Nuggets. They're 5-7 on the road, 0-4 as a dog, and 4-7-1 against the spread away. The Celtics, they are 17-5. Wow. 14-6-2 against the spread. They're on a 4-game win streak right now. Last outing, 110-88 win over the Cavs. They're 10-0, a perfect 10-0 at home. And Marcus Smart, though, question mark for this one. The Celtics, only 1.5-point favorites at home, total 210 points. This should be a great game to watch, as well as maybe a decent one to bet on.
This is a great game, and it's a great matchup between 2 of the top teams in the East. They've been battling it all year. They'll battle at the end. Season opener in Philadelphia. Philadelphia handles the Celtics easily. They win 107-93. They cover the spread. So Boston may have a measure of revenge on their mind here at home, where they are 10-0.
Yep.
But the Celtics are coming off a Wednesday night game. They're playing the second of back-to-backs here. They're playing at Indiana on Wednesday night. They've covered 8 of the last 9 prior to that. Like you said, they've won their last 4 in a row. But, you know, this Philadelphia team, there's so many different problems with them. You have Simmons, who doesn't shoot. He's a 6'10" guard that doesn't shoot threes. And Embiid just loves the attention. This guy is as dominant as any player in the league when he wants to be. Mm-hmm. But the Sixers are 1-5 on the road at Boston. 1-5 on the road in their last 6. And Nick, they've lost the last 5 times at Boston. Boston have a measure of revenge waiting here. But, Nick, they're only 1.5-point favorites. We're talking about a team that's got one of the best records in the league.
I'm surprised, quite frankly, I'm surprised that Boston are only a 1.
And what they're telling me here is that Embiid's going to show up. Well, even though 76ers are only 5-7 on the road, I won't be surprised at all if Philly gives them all they can handle. And especially because there was a little controversy today where they said Embiid isn't even one of the top 5 players in the league, and he took exception to that.
He should.
You know, he is really tough when he plays, and I think he's coming to play here, and I think the line is telling us.
You can't be a top 5 player in the league and play in the East, though. You know
Well, I'll tell you, this isn't football where the East is the least. This is NBA basketball, but right now the East is pretty strong with Boston.
Oh, come on, with the West kicks butt. You know that.
Well, you know, we do the best we can.
Are we going to get into an East Coast, West Coast thing here, Chirimbes?
I don't think so. I think we should get into it.
We should bring in, Higgy Smalls.
No, that's a great matchup.
We can just throw down, okay?
This is the game worth going to see, Nick. I mean, there are a lot of games out there where they're just going through the motions and run up the court. This is a game you want to see, like we said, and Embiid will be there.
Let's go east to west, shall we? Blazers at Nuggets up next. We have enough time for this one, I believe. Portland, 10-15, 11-3-1 against the spread. Beat the Knicks, 115-87 on Tuesday. They're 5-9 away, 7-7 against the spread on the road. Nurkic, Collins, and now Rodney Hood out. Total has gone under in 6 of the last 9 for Portland. The Denver Nuggets, 14-8, 10-11-1 against the spread. They lost 3 in a row. Most recently, 92-97 lost to Philly. 8-3 at home, 5-6 against the spread. Paul Millsap, Jamal Murray out. They're under in 6 of the last 7. Make this a winner-winner chicken dinner.
Okay, well, what I see here is this is a Denver club that was on the road. They've lost 3 of the 4 on the road, and the one team they beat was the New York Knicks. Hoorah! Who doesn't beat the Knicks? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So they've gone 1-6 against another.
My son's elementary school basketball team just played the Knicks today and beat them.
Well, they take better shot selection, I'm sure, and probably rebound
better. And they were
better
better sports about it too. The elementary school kids. Yeah.
You know, Denver's already beaten Portland this year, 108-100 at Portland earlier in the year, and Carmelo Anthony's come to the Trailblazers. What is he at? I don't think he has anything. I think the Trailblazers know that they're shot this year. They gave it the best thing they could last year, and I think at 10 and 15, they're just not going anywhere, and they know it. And that's one of the reasons they picked up Carmelo Anthony just for show, player of the week. You know, he doesn't
Certainly
play
didn't want to
defense.
pick up Carmelo Anthony after I projectile vomited all over him.
Well, you know, sometimes his shots look like projectile vomits, and he doesn't always take the best shots in the world. But I think your best shot Thursday night is not so much this NBA, but Chip Chirimbes' NFL Thursday night winner.
We will be talking Jets at Ravens, I imagine.
Yeah, we are, and you know, we're documented 9-3 on Thursday nights in the NFL. Nick, that's 75%. We gave you the Bears last week over Dallas, an easy winner. We had no problem there. Whether it's easy or it's not, it's a winner. Play the points. Give me a call. It's lined up right now, Ravens and Jets, on picksandparlays.net.
All right, so picksandparlays.net is the place you need to go to find all the free picks for you. And when you're ready to get that extra sporting intelligence, because look, you can bet, anyone can go bet on anything they want, but if you want to be a winner, you've got to have the best intelligence you can. Get the best information. You're going to do that with our expert picks, which you're going to find on the site, picksandparlays.net. Go in, we've got a special offer for you in celebration of the holidays. Think of me as Santa Nick today. 15% off everything you put in your cart. And if you, I tell you what, buy an extra Chip Chirimbes package, and he will come visit you in your house dressed as Santa Claus,
I'll come as
wearing nothing but a Euro thong.
I'll come as
now,
Saint
I know
Nick.
that is exciting for everybody out there. Promo code GIFT, 15% off everything on the site, Picks and Parlays. Right, Chip?
Well, if you come over, you'll be Saint Nick, and you don't have to be Santa Nick.
As long as you're not wearing a Euro thong.
No,
we're
no,
good.
no. I go naked. I don't wear it at all. I don't go at all.
Oh, please.
It has to do with my background and my education.
Yeah, you do have a master's in human sexuality.
We do.
Which human did you look at for that? Okay, look, we're going to break. I'll be right back with Joe, Sean, Puffy, Duddy, Diddy Daddy. I don't know. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, where we are each and every weekday from 4 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. That's when the radio show goes. And, of course, we stream live throughout the day as well on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Well, I want to thank everyone so far. We've had Craig El Guapo Trapp. We've had Chip Chicken Dinner Chirimbes. And up next, Joe the Duff Man Duffy, who we're now going to call Sean Diddy Duffy, Dooney Duffy. I don't know. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cecil, and a very happy National Ding-a-ling Day to you.
No, it was Turkmenistan Neutrality Day today, and I'm going to drive my Austin P down to the Turkmenistan embassy and wish them a happy Turkmenistan Neutrality Day.
Yeah, I don't like multi-syllabic days, but, you know, I'll celebrate it anyway.
Well, good. Look, let's celebrate with some NFL football picks, shall we? The season is grinding or winding down to a conclusion. There are winners, losers, and teams that probably wish they hadn't shown up this season at all. But we have 4 that we have curated for our viewers and listeners. And by the way, we love to hear from you, our viewers and listeners. All you have to do is go to our social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fill out the comment section. We'll see it here on the screen, as a number of people have done already, and we'll comment on the show or read it out. All right, Duffman, why don't we start with the Jaguars at Raiders? The Jaguars 4-9. By the way, let me just digress here for a brief second. The new Raiders Stadium here in Las Vegas is looking fantastic. Just want to point that out. I can't afford to go, but it is looking great. All right, Jags 4-9, 5-8 against the spread. They lost 5 in a row most recently. I'll learn how to talk at some point. Most recent loss was a 45-10 loss to the Chargers. Gardner Minshew's return didn't make too much of a difference. Let's be honest about it. They're 0-5 straight up and against the spread. The Raiders 6-7, 6-7 against the spread. Lost 3 in a row, including a 21-42 blowout loss to the Titans. They're 5-2 at home, 4-3 against the spread at home. The total has gone over in 4 of the last 5 games. I'm imagining we got 45.5 points here. Raiders 6-point home favorites, which is kind of a big number. I'm just wondering here, are we going to go over 45.5?
Well, as you mentioned, yeah, the Jaguars, it doesn't matter who their quarterback is. Their offense has been pretty offensive, that is. And, yeah, they're pretty bad. One of the things that happens this time of the year, I hear people say it all the time, I think this team quit. And usually when you hear somebody say that a team quit, that's when you kind of want to bet on them. Maybe a little bit of my, contrarian background there. However, what I've discovered, and, I like to test theories and do it objectively. No, bad teams don't quit at home during late in the year, but they do seem to quit on the road. Road teams off of 3 straight or more, and in the case of Jaguars, it is or more blowout losses, do actually tank late in the season. They're a fade of 39-9-1. So, of course, that would say to go with the Raiders. However, conversely, big underdogs off consecutive route losses are 120-75-6, but that's all year long. So not so much at the end of the year. But the Raiders definitely want to keep a close eye today, or on Wednesday, I should say. Running back Josh Jacobs, limited practice. He's questionable. He's a key player, 218 yards, 218 carries, I should say, over 1,000 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns, 146 receiving yards. So this would definitely affect, if he's not going to play, this line could drop. If he does play, we could even see it maybe going to a key number. I know the odds makers, neither offshore or there in Vegas, like going on a key number. They like to mess around with juice. Maybe they would make it, -7 and plus numbers or whatever. But still, all in all, yeah. In this case, I do think the Jaguars are in a rare situation where they do seem to be quitting. And as I said, they're going from Jacksonville all the way out to the West Coast. Yet maybe one other reason that to dismotivate them, I think Oakland's going to crush them.
So bad teams never quit at home. This is what you're telling me, Duffy?
Yeah, I'm not going to say never.
Have you been to Goodison Park recently and seen Everton?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Have you been to Goodison Park recently and seen Everton?
Yes.
There's a bad team quit at home. You're wrong, Duffy. You're wrong.
Well, I do. There's some different software that I can do EPL. So I'll have to look that one up in software, a little bit different than this. But no, the general rule is really bad teams late in the year do tend to quit on the road. They do not quit at home.
All right, well, let's pick up another game, shall we? Let's talk about the Colts visiting New Orleans to play the Saints. The Colts are 6-7, 5-6-2 against the spread. Lost 3 in a row, most recently a 35-38 loss to Tampa Bay. They're 2-4 away. The total has gone over in 4 of the last 6 for the Colts. And for the Saints, they're coming off a tight 46-48 loss to the Niners, a very disappointing loss for the Saints. The defense without Marcus Davenport and Sheldon Rankins, though. So I'm going to ask you in a second how this line has shifted, as that news has broken. The total has gone over in 4 of the last 5. Playing the Colts at home for the Saints. Big favorites, obviously home favorites, 8-point favorites. Although has that shifted because of this injury news? The total 46. Answer my questions, please, Duffy.
Yeah, generally. Injury news and weather news, especially with the high winds, is going to influence the line even more than big plays. Usually a lot of the people wait till a little bit before game time to lay big money. But then again, that's also based on the reports that come out Sunday morning as far as players who are questionable, how they're looking in warm-ups, and then certainly when the official activations and deactivations come out. Road teams, again, off of a road loss, playing consecutive weeks, are pretty good plays, and that would favor the Colts. 334, 241, and 11. I hesitate because in the NFL and the NBA, professional sports, it's been my experience that letdown situations and even look ahead, that's much more prevalent in college sports than it is in pro sports. But man, if there is any game that's going to take a little bit out of you emotionally and physically, that game against San Francisco last week, a little bit tough game to bounce back from. And it's a rare situation. A team that had 88 or more total points scored in their last game, they do go over the following week at 21 and 11. And like I said, I think that when you have a game that high scoring, it's generally going to take a lot more out of the defense because it's the defense that's been chasing around the offense. Yeah. When you look at game films, when you have the big plays like you do last week, those offensive linemen, they're not running all the way down the field. They're actually resting when the ball's 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But all 11 guys on defense are in pursuit. I do think it's going to tend to really wear out the defense than it does the offense. And I think that's one of the reasons why teams off of mega high-scoring games do go over again the next week. So I like this game to go over the total.
Over the total. What do you remember what the total was for that Saints 49ers? I know there was 94 points scored, but what was the total of that?
I do think the total was right about this. I think it was 47, 48, something along those lines. It
blew out that over number in a big way. Great game.
Yeah, that was one of my rare losers.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, never mind. Texans at Titans next up. The Texans, boy, they look good and then they don't. It's really odd. I mean, they can look great or they can look like crap. Disappointing loss for them to the Broncos as an 8-point home favorite. While the Titans, on the other hand, destroyed the Raiders. I mean, this was a destruction, 42-21. This is the AFC South title on the line here. The Titans won 6 of the last 7, both straight up and against the spread. They're 8-5. They're 8-5 against the spread also, and they're home favorites, 3-point home favorites, with a nice round total of 50 on this one. Duffman, regress us to the means.
Yeah, and there you go. Fantastic segue. And I'm going to piggyback on what you said. The teams are off of a loss of 14 or more points when they were a favorite of 8 or more points in that game that they lost. And then they're playing an opponent on a 4 or more game winning streak, are actually 28, 16, and 1. That doesn't surprise me because has regression in the mean written all over it. That would favor, of course, the Texans. Now, in the case of Ryan Tannehill, I don't really know what to say about it. I was always an anti-Ryan Tannehill guy in Miami, and I thought it was addition by subtraction. Way back when, during the summer, I did a video with Chelsea, and I said that I thought that Miami, over their win total, was one of the best bets. Now, this is before they did truly tank for Tua. This is before they made all those roster moves. I thought there was addition by subtraction, but at the same time, also believe 90% of the games half matter. When you have an underachieving quarterback, he changes uniforms, and he got a little humble pie. He was a backup. Maybe he is for real. The Titans are 6-1 straight up with him. He's completed 149 out of 203 passes, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 118.5, which is better than Deshaun Watson's is. As much as I don't generally like riding the hot hand in the NFL, that is, I don't know. I just think the Titans, psychologically, they're red hot, and maybe Tannehill is a late bloomer. So I'm going to go with the Titans.
All right, nice one. Last one, 3 minutes. Seahawks at Panthers. The Seahawks 10-3, 7-6 against the spread, coming off a 12-28 loss to the Rams. They could still pick up first place in the NFC, though. Their first road loss on the season, by the way. The total has gone over in 13 of the last 20 games. For the Panthers, they've lost 5 in a row. They have thrown in the towel for the season, although we can argue this is a home game for them. The last loss was 20-40 to the Falcons. Over in the 7 of the last 9 for the Panthers. The Seahawks, big road favorites, 6-point road favorites, total 48. Couple of minutes, let's go.
All right, yeah, I know we're short on time. Again, this is consecutive road games, a road team off of a loss. Gave that stat already. That does favor Seattle. But one of my, well, we'll say it, regression to the mean has to do with turnovers. Teams with a much worse turnover ratio. I've explained it on past segments that we've done. They're generally good bets, 538, 407, and 30. That would favor Carolina. Now, we have an anti-splits angle that says fading road teams who have been better on the road than at home is actually a good play to fade that trend. It's not going to keep up. So that would favor Carolina, 141, 104, and 11. West Coast teams traveling east, playing at 1 p.m. used to be a big go against. Not so much in recent years, but still in week 7 or later, it's slumping a little bit, 119, 84, and 4, but still. Seattle is just the much better team, and I think they're going to be fired up off a loss. That's why road teams playing their second straight road game and off of a loss have been good bets. They're generally undervalued. I do think Seattle, despite, the travel, will blow them out here.
All right, so you think it's going to be a blowout of the Panthers, who you are going to contradict yourself, would have thrown in the towel at home, even though you said they generally don't.
I don't think they're going to throw in the towel. I just think Seattle's going to be a little bit fired up, and they're in a pretty good situation. If anything, maybe a contrarian situation, because people hate betting road teams playing consecutive weeks.
All right, Joe, Duffman Duffy, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. And you can find, by the way, Joe, what do you have up on the site right now?
I do have the Army-Navy game is up, and I know I'm about to complete the card for Thursday. Probably not going to have the Thursday Night Football. We're going to have a big basketball portfolio, and I'm going to finish that off as soon as I get done with you. And I already know I have a huge NFL. I'm going to hopefully post those plays shortly, finalizing the NFL. Big NFL week coming up.
All right, well, thank you. Duffman, you're done with me now, so go to work. All right, you can find Joe Duffy's picks on the website, picksandparlays.net. While you're about it, we're going to give you 15% off for all of your troubles. Use promo code GIFT. That's promo code GIFT. Give yourself the holiday gift of winning. Picksandparlays.net. All right, when we come back, in case you missed any of it, I'll recap all the picks. And just a reminder, if you missed any of this show, you can find replays on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and on the Believe Podcast Network. I'll be right back after this. Thanks for staying with us here on Picks and Parlays. This Turkmenistan Neutrality Day, December the 12th. Hope you're enjoying it. We're going to make it even better for you. Your Turkmenistan neutrality celebrations will be all the better with some winners in your portfolio. We've had on 3 of our expert handicappers, Craig Trapp, Chip Chirimbes, and Joe Duffy. Here were their picks for you. We started off with Craig, doing some college basketball. Iowa at Iowa State. We said take Iowa +4. And Austin P. Baby Groovy at West Virginia. Take Austin P. +15.5. Chip Chicken Dinner Chirimbes gave us some NBA. 76ers at Celtics. Take the 76ers +1.5. And the Mavs at the Pistons. Take the over 220.5. And we topped it all off with Joe Duffy, some NFL picks. Texans at Titans. Take the Titans -3. The Colts at the Saints. Take the over 47. And the Jaguars at the Raiders. Take the Raiders -6.5. Seahawks at Panthers. Take the Seahawks -6. Those were our picks. And just a reminder to you, Monday through Friday, we bring you this show. Lots of picks. Loads of free picks on the show. So it's good to have a pen and paper handy, just in case you need it. But never fear, you can always find us on the radio, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday, live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. And we do stream live throughout the day as well on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, giving you lots of picks, lots of ways to make those informed bets and pocket that money as the holiday season is right around the corner. And a final reminder, if you're looking for something to do with that piggy bank money, go buy some picks at the site. We're going to give you 15% off. Use promo code GIFT. That's GIFT, promo code GIFT. That's going to wrap the show for today. We'll be back with you tomorrow. More picks, more parlays, more winning. And as always, when you do, remember to always bet, win, repeat.